Welcome to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters. Money on Tap is where we bring out the professionals and experience and some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. That's what we do on this radio show, and we look at all sides of the issues, bringing a fully independent planning perspective to the table. My name is Seth Cressman, and I'm joined here once again with John Ryder and Ben Brayshaw. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Seth.
Good morning, guys.
So you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. You can also find us at Facebook, 3D Investing. Today, the title of our show is Investing in the Next Generation. I think it's going to be a valuable listen for you as we talk about ways we can invest in our kids' generation. Margarita Cheng wrote an article entitled 8 Great Financial Lessons Learned from My Father. And in the article, she writes about some valuable lessons that she learned from her father when it came to money.
Yeah, Seth, I found it a really interesting read, and I think we're going to delve into that very soon here. But before we do that, it's time for Money in the News. So this first story here, I found pretty fascinating. One of the things that we try to highlight on the Money in the News is sometimes stories that are a little shocking, sometimes ones that it's hard to believe, and there's plenty of those stories out there. But this one here was just pretty wild here. It's hard for us to sometimes fathom just how things can be so different in a different era and time. But the title of this headline here on Fox News is World War II era money worth $2.5 million found under store that belonged to Winston Churchill's tailor. So, we have all heard of Winston Churchill, obviously, perhaps the greatest orator of the 20th century. And he's really renowned for his awe-inspiring speeches. And if you guys remember the speech from way back, and I know we don't remember this from our personal lifetimes, but from reading it, "We shall fight on the beaches" address. And so there's a lot of different things that we could attribute to Winston Churchill. But one thing that we never knew is that his tailor actually had some banknotes that he had buried in the foundations of basically the guts of the house there, worth $2.5 million.
That's unbelievable. I mean, this is just one story of the discoveries. There's probably a zillion stories of discoveries not made yet. People didn't have, the safety deposit box. They couldn't afford that. They just had a little, they invested in this or they invested in that, and 100 years later, boom, it's worth a ton of money.
Well, here's the deal. So they have this. There's this store now that is on the property. It's called Cotswold Outdoor Store in Brighton, England, and basically the notes were found when Russ Davis, who is the owner of the place, construction workers were tearing up old layers of carpet and tile. And he said that the notes were caked in dirt and did not realize what he had initially. He said, "I thought it was just a block of wood, so I snapped it in half. And then I found a note right there." He was saying this in an interview with the BBC. So the Sussex police now, I guess, are in possession of the notes and they're keeping them safe until they figure out where the money came from and who is the rightful owner. Now, I'm thinking if I'm the owner of that store, there's no debate about who the rightful owner is. I bought this fair and square. We found it now. I'm keeping it.
Yeah, no, seriously. I was just in Brighton back in April.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Ben, you were traveling over there. Ben, it would be nice if you would, the date of this article is in June. It'd be nice, Ben, if you had done a little, maybe exploratory searching over there. You might have come back with a little bit more money in your pocket.
I know. I should have. I wonder which store it was again.
Yeah, Cotswold Outdoor, and you're kind of an outdoors guy, so that could have been. But just amazing there how it all worked out. One of the Davis, who's the owner of it, said that it was unclear who buried the notes, but suspected they may have been left there from a bank robbery or been stashed during the war by someone who died. They're also saying it also has been speculated that it could have been buried by a member of the family that owned Bradley Gowns' department store back years ago. But yeah, it's just amazing how those things work. And it'd be nice if I just find it interesting, the whole thing with the debate. So for instance, if you bought a house, Ben, or you bought a business on Main Street in Manchester, and you were down in the basement of that building and you looked underneath the tile and you found some bills there, even though you might call the press in to say this is really cool, I can't imagine it'd be up for debate whose is if you own the title of the property.
Yeah, I know.
Why is that even debate?
If they were titled shares,
Yeah, but it sounds like just like bills, and it wasn't a whole lot of them. But I guess because of the age of them and how many of them there were, it wasn't a whole lot of them. But it was worth $2. Can you imagine how that could just change your life?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I totally agree. But I think if it's like banknotes that are just like it's like a cash receivership kind of thing. Yeah, it has to go with the building owner, I would think.
But there's something you were saying, Ben. There's lots of different things, and Seth, I think we were chatting about this as well too. Is that there's a lot of different things out there that it's just so amazing. If they're rare, they're expensive. Like I remember reading about there's a rare nickel from 1913. It was known as the Eliasberg Liberty Head nickel. It was one of only 5 ever produced, and it was auctioned off. It's going to be auctioned off in August coming up. They expected to sell this nickel, 5 cents, right?
Yeah.
Between $3 and $5 million for one nickel. I don't get it. I mean, you always wonder, like, who's paying for? I mean, that nickel's great. Put it away on your bookshelf. Put it over. Frame it. Put it above your great. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. I guess a lot of
That's
things.
because you don't have $3 to $5 million to buy it.
That is true. That is true. And if I did, I can assure you, I would not spend it on that.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather always said, "Don't take any wooden nickels," but he never said, "Don't take any of the Elias nickels." So I should have paid closer attention to what he really meant by that saying.
Yes. And you know what's weird too is why do they only produce 5? Isn't that kind of weird that they only produce 5? I mean,
yeah. What happened?
I mean, think of what it costs probably even back then to actually set the mold to make that, and then it's like, we'll only make 5. We'll make some guys multimillionaires later on when they cash them in. So, Ben, I have something I want to bring up for our next article today. And I think you'll actually enjoy this. And Seth, I think you will too. I know you don't live in New Hampshire, Seth. You live in Portland. Okay, Portland's fine and everything. But New Hampshire, here it is in the paper, online paper here. New Hampshire, number 9 best state to retire in. Now, we don't often get to the top of the charts here, I have to say it, New Hampshire. And why is that? Well, we have some things like property taxes that are really high. We also have some very cold weather out here, which is not attractive to live in, especially about February, when we're all wishing it would go away, and then we get a forecast for another 1.5 feet of snow coming. But I thought this was pretty cool. So, I think New Hampshire is looked at as a great place to live. And I agree. Only 1.3 million people that live here. I was just in New York City. Guess how many people they have just in New York City alone? 10 million people. So having only 1.3 million, it's great for population. We have a zillion
in the
people
state
running
in
over
the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, in the whole state.
Million.
Yeah. The share, if the cost of living here is not cheap, so it's 18% above the average. The average income for 65 plus is $53,000 a year. And then they also rate in this article here about the average healthcare costs for a retired couple. It is expensive. There's no doubt. I think it is across, but it's $424,000 over the course of your retirement lifetime. Is that crazy or what, guys? $424,000, and that's why, folks, we spend a lot of time talking about protecting those assets, because if you look at it right there, the U.S. average that people are going to spend when they're 65 and older, that they're going to spend on their health care, is $423,523. This is why we talk about taking care and doing some things to help protect that 401k, doing some things to help protect that IRA that you have, to help protect the house, maybe the second house that you have. That's why we spend some time talking about that. So there are a lot of reasons why we would all want to retire in New Hampshire. So number 9 is not bad. We haven't been there for a while. Ever, maybe. I don't know.
Did you know that Oregon is ranked number 70 in America's migraine hotspots?
Oh, I did.
I just want to let you guys know. Oregon, Seth, is ranked number 70 for migraine.
Yeah,
hotspots.
well, it's been a while since I've seen Kiplinger report fake news.
Share with us.
Well, no, that's what this is. It's number 9 New Hampshire. That's where this came from.
Well, Kiplinger just very reliable.
Fake news. I'm going to go over to CNBC here because of the quality of their reporting, where they have ranked the 11 best places to spend your golden years. Guess what? Portland, Oregon, number 1. Gentlemen.
Oh, my goodness, Seth.
1.
Seth, was this article from about 12 years ago? What was the date of that article?
I will give you the date right here. This is actually from June 9th, 2018.
I don't know, Ben. As I'm hearing things, I'm hearing fake news myself. I don't want to make things up, but I just...
Oh, I'm sorry. Was the Wall Street Journal, would that be a little bit better place to go? Because I could go ahead and pull that one out here, too. And... give you best places to retire. Portland, Oregon.
Why are people
2015?
So why are people retiring to Portland, Oregon? There's probably actually a lot of good reasons. But you know what, Seth? I've never been out there, so I can't.
Well, I'm not
prove that.
done yet, though.
Okay,
John.
okay.
I'm not done here. We can go back to 2005 and pull out the rankings for 1 out of 50. Guess what? Best cities for seniors 2005. Folks, if you're looking to retire, Portland, Oregon, we've got number 2 ranking for best cities for foodies. You know?
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Let me see. Where are we at here? Let me see. Oh, number 7, America's most playful cities.
Okay. Where's the migraine? Where's the migraine stat there? I don't want to move there. I don't want migraines.
You know what? There's actually this is pretty funny. There's some really interesting ratings out there for some cities.
Yeah.
For some reason, we wound up to number 20 out of 361 best baseball cities. I'm sure you guys in Boston there are.
It is number one. I haven't looked it up. But it's number one. Number one. Yep. Number one. Sports. New England sports. Number one.
Oh, here we go. Number 37. America's manliest cities. 2011. How important? That's super important for people to know when they're moving to a new city. Just how manly Portland? That city would be.
That's pretty far down the list, Seth. I don't know.
Not really.
That's pretty far down, Seth.
Nowhere in New Hampshire did they ever even push the needle.
well, Seth, I think that was a ranking out of 37 cities, right?
They were scared
Portland
to come here, so
50.
I think that's probably ranking enough. Scared to
making 50 on the.
Oh man! Well, I'm glad you're manly over there, Seth. That's good to hear. That is good to hear, my friend. Yeah. So
manliest cities.
Oh man,
Nashville, Tennessee is number 1
for manliest. Really, it's funny. Well, maybe it's because a lot of those cowboys playing country music and singing. And
sorry, I just can't. I don't.
You can't get into that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Fake news again. Fake news.
Who did this? This is horrendous. Manliest city.
Isn't that funny? That's funny.
Good times, guys. Good times. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate that little bit there.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing all about Portland there, because I had no idea, and I would not have guessed. I would probably have guessed, if I was thinking about Portland, I'd probably guess it around number 40, 45 for the best cities to live in. I don't know why I would think that low. I don't know why. I don't know why. I need to come out there and visit you. That's what I need to do.
Yeah. We'll
prove me wrong, Seth. Prove me wrong.
Prove you wrong. That's my job here, folks, is to just make sure that everybody knows just where we're at in Portland, Oregon. Hey, I think that's going to do it for Money in the News.
I think that's going to do it.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Money on Tap. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is John Ryder, a partner with Brayshaw Financial Group and one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every day, and planning a successful retirement today is more challenging than ever, with a roller coaster stock market, political and economic uncertainty, and so many unknowns when it comes to the escalating costs of healthcare. Let us show you how we utilize the 3D method of investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. Using our experience, let us help you plan for a successful retirement. Now is the right time to start getting help. Give us a call at Brayshaw Financial Group at 855-226-8551. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, we have offices across the country. We would love the opportunity to meet with you. There's absolutely no cost or obligation to meet with us, and we welcome you to our offices. Call 855-226-8551 today.
More Money on Tap in just a moment. On today's Cliff Notes edition of Money on Tap, John Ryder and Ben Brayshaw help us consider our investments in light of the demographic shift between baby boomers and millennials and the economic change that is certain to come.
We have people that are looking for guidance out there for, hey, how should I have my portfolio set? How should I have my allocations and all that? So, Ben, let's talk a little bit about what we talk with when people come into our office about ways in which they should perhaps structure their portfolio. What kind of things should we be looking at?
John, we talk about everything under the sun. I mean, there's not really anything we don't handle for the most part in the investment world. But it doesn't mean you have to take a huge amount of risk in this world to actually make money because of this demographic shift. I think that's the real story that exists out there, and people aren't really giving it the credit and the validity that it needs. And we talk to people all the time saying the baby boomers are coming through, buying up yield-producing, dividend-producing assets. Those things are going to rise in value as the demand for them increases. We're at the front end of this tidal wave. This is an opportunity to take advantage of those yielding assets if you know what you're doing, because you can probably take less risk and potentially see better returns because of that shift, because of that tidal wave, because of the demand for income-producing assets by people who are retiring, because that's what they need is income. Now, at the end of the day, though, it may not be true. It may not work because you have the millennials coming through, and that's a whole nother swing. So you've got these polar opposites, that ping-pong table going on between those two age brackets. Now, at the end of the day, those people are going to be spending, the baby boomers are going to be spending, and where they're going to be spending is not exactly the same kind of thing, but it could be. There could be some similar overlaps. But I think ultimately, kind of the traditional stock market investments where you have a certain amount of risky stuff and not so risky and real conservative and all that kind of generic malarkey, I think it has come down to that because the old story no longer fits the current demographic swing.
So it's not like it always was. Times are changing.
Yeah, times are changing. You know, you think about, was it Lee Iacocca when he created all the different cars moving with the baby boomers? Why was he so successful? He made the minivan and all the different vehicles. I remember seeing a story about him and how he went through that, and he just kept meeting the desires of that age bracket. Age brackets coming through now, they're looking for income. That's one of the things why the bond world, the annuity world, the dividend stock world, the low-risk portfolios are so attractive because they want that station wagon. But I think if you're not taking that scenario into play, you're going to miss the whole cart. And it's going to literally walk right by you and maybe trample you in the marketplace.
Thanks for joining us for this Cliff Notes edition of Money on Tap, with great tips from the pros in three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. Now here's more Money on Tap with Seth, Ben, and John.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the experience, some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. So we have been talking about absolutely worthless information so far. Fake news, number 9, New Hampshire. I can't get out of that mode with you guys. I'm having a hard time getting away from
All
that.
right,
You know
Seth,
what?
You're number 1. We're number 9. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, if this is important for you,
You can come over here. We'll see how manly it is.
Yeah, Seth, come on over here. We'll show you. We'll show you how manly New Hampshire is.
You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. Feel free to go ahead and weigh in with John and Ben on what is the manliest city truly in the continental U.S. here. We are actually going to be talking about something I think that's very valuable, which is, it's a conversation. It's continuity. It's how do we move from generation to generation? And, certainly I think a goal would be to increase our fiscal mindset, our ability to work in finance and have some fluidity from one generation to another. If anything, improve the lives for our children and their well-being.
Absolutely. Do you know that the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority Foundation estimates that nearly 2/3 of Americans can't pass a basic financial literary test? That's 66% of adults can't pass a basic literary test when it comes to their finances. So when it comes to learning about money, obviously our generation hasn't learned a whole lot, and also our kids are not really going to find the basic building blocks of financial education in the school system. Now, I know there are some programs and some courses out there. In fact, we have our kids at the local Christian school. We do have a couple of courses that they do. They're kind of minor, very small semester course where they talk. First of all, in 8th grade, they talk about budgeting and important not spending more than you make and all that kind of thing. But I will tell you, with a daughter in 8th grade, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other, really, because I don't really think about spending and budgeting. However, they do repeat the course again in the senior year. It's actually a really good course in the senior year because it really does kind of bring to light some of the issues that we're going to talk about today. It talks about budgeting, first of all. Then it talks about making sure that you don't fall into credit card debt, that type of thing. And it's hard even for a senior to understand because they don't have credit cards offered to them until 1 year out, and then they go to college and then they get hammered with all these cards and offers and all that. But they also talk about just the basics of mutual funds and stocks and bonds and basically how that works. But I will say, for the most part, Kids graduate from high school having no idea. Then they go off to college, and yes, they might be taking microeconomics and macroeconomics and all that, but there's really basically no financial education. Now, Ben, when you went to school, wasn't all that long ago, but was there, I know you took some finance courses and all that, but there wasn't personal finance, right? This is more of the big picture, right? When it came to your finances and all.
Yeah, I mean, when I studied finance, it was all the upper level
math of finance and all that kind of stuff.
So between the engineering mathematics and the financial math, it just and the entire industry as a whole, it was a 30,000-foot view on that compared to bringing it down to a smaller level. But a lot of the courses in the financial planning realm did talk about all the planning pieces around people and so forth. But I think ultimately there's not enough. There's just not enough education out there for people to. I mean, even my kids, like we try to talk about stuff. They're not interested in it.
I know. That is,
and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But and they probably get 10 times more than the average household because we talk about it all the time. Now we got to be responsible with our money. We make our kids pay for their insurances and stuff like that, like the car insurance for my daughter. We got our license. Those are things that we do, and we do those intentionally to teach them responsibility. If we don't do those types of things, we lose the ability to really teach them the value of the dollar. Now, there's a lot of different ways. Just because I do that doesn't mean that everyone needs to do that, because there's other things I don't force them to do.
Yeah.
But that's the item I chose.
And we'll delve into some of those different areas. And in fact, we want to talk about some of the ways in which we can actually help our kids. It could be grandkids that you're going to help too with this type of thing. But really, before we do that, I want to go into one thing. I'm going to put you guys on the spot. And I'm going to share with you. Can you guys remember a time? Maybe it was high school. Maybe it was a little after high school. Maybe it was college. Maybe it was a little after college. We did something dumb when it came to finances. I'm going to share with you mine. So I'm going to give you guys a second to think about yours. But
so my wife was reading my baby book. A little while ago.
I don't mean when you were a baby, Ben. I don't mean when you were a baby.
No. I
went through too many diapers.
Everyone's got a learning experience. No, but it was funny.
Cradle to grave.
Because she was like, it said that my mom had written in there that Ben's a saver.
Oh, interesting.
Just interesting, concept. But, when I remember struggling to get out of like the college debt and the credit card debt when you first got out of college, you're trying to get your life started. It's just that overwhelming feeling that a lot of people are trying to dig their way out of. And sometimes you're fortunate enough that you can, but a lot of people aren't.
Well, you even look at, and we've talked about this before too, guys, just about the cost of college and how much it actually costs, and how do you get out of a bill, $200,000 when you graduate that a lot of kids are seeing now when they get out? I have a friend of mine whose two sons are in medical school and dental school, and the bills that they have is $80,000 a year. And they're going to be making some good money when they get out, but I'll tell you, it's going to take a while to pay that off. But I'm thinking of one thing in particular. I remember when I was in high school, probably around my senior year, and I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys remember like the Columbia Record and Tape Club? There's different things you could get CDs from. Maybe that was a little after your time. I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I remember you get.
I remember this well.
Yeah,
and there was another one. Maybe it wasn't Columbia. I want to say it was
BMG.
BMG.
That was the second one. Yes. I think I got involved in that one too. I wasn't going to share that one today, but since you mentioned it. No, so.
Well, I was a member.
Yeah,
so
I was too. I was a member. Members only. I was wearing my members only jacket there when I got that. But guys, I remember them having this great offer. If you buy one CD and pay for shipping, and CDs were the big thing that had just come out then. If you buy one CD, then we're going to send you 7 more. And you get those for free. But what you also had to do is you had to make sure that every month when they sent you a new offer, that you would send back and sign off that you did not want the next offering. And you had to do that for a whole year. Well, I remember switching from because I went to boarding school, and I remember having a home address. I did not have my mail forwarded, so it kind of sat at home for some reason to get forwarded to me. And I remember all of a sudden getting a notice saying that my credit was going to be dinged. And it actually took a little while because they wanted me to pay like $175 to pay off all those things, and I didn't have the money.
Big money. Yeah,
and here's what I did. It'll go away. I kind of ignored it, thinking, they're not going to go. Yeah, I'll join BMG now. And then I don't think the same.
Out of mind. I love that financial
and I thought it would go away, but one thing we all know with money, it never goes away. I don't care if it's the IRS, if it's the credit card, if it's $100 someone wants from you, they're going to get it from you. And I just remember that. And that was something that really taught me a lesson early on. Don't sign up for something that you can't take care of. And that was really a contractual type agreement, which I should not have done at my age there. And but it taught me a lesson early on. Don't do that again.
Yeah, I joined one of those clubs too.
Did you really? Okay.
Coming true.
Something tells me Ben joined the club. He sent back the notice every month, and he had no problems.
No, I think I did have a problem.
Did you
with
little debt collector calling you?
No. I think it was like they were going to charge me for 1 or 2 CDs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not paying it. And I don't think everything was like it didn't get back within like a day of the time period it was supposed to be or something.
Oh,
like
Ben,
that.
I loved it how if you didn't select the CD that you wanted, that they sent you something.
I know. Yeah. Just
You
random.
really didn't
yes.
care for.
Yeah, it was like they would send you something out in a genre that was
Yeah.
no basis for your interest whatsoever.
Right.
It was always the junk stuff.
I think I still have like a Tiffany CD or a Cyndi Lauper CD kicking around someplace just because of that.
That is funny.
No, I think so too. I think there's something in one of my books.
Yes.
That's
Although
funny.
I will say this, I was able to get some pretty cool music that I didn't wouldn't have had access to because it wasn't on air.
That I
you know?
did too. I got it, but I got it at great expense to me. So yes. And I guess I learned a valuable lesson. Thank you, Columbia Record and Tape Club, as we speak now. Thank you for teaching me that lesson about financial responsibility early on in my life.
That's good.
Well said.
There. Well said. So I think we've all made mistakes in the past. And you know what sometimes I think is the difficulty sometimes when talking to our kids about it is the fact that we know we've made mistakes. We're not perfect. And you know what? I think our parents are the same way. Our parents may not have been perfect savers. They didn't do everything perfectly right. And we all know that and their parents didn't do everything perfectly either. Although I will say this, that generations in the past really, I believe, were handling money much better than we are today. And I think some of that was passed down from generation to generation just by the dad sitting down with the son and saying, listen, here's what you need to do. You know, I paid $8,000 for my first home. I had it paid off in 7 years, and you should do the same thing, you know.
I think that you touched on something interesting though, was when you illustrate the dad and the son relationship. That's been a very strong historical precedence. Like a lot of fathers have sat down with their sons and taught them how to manage finances from an early age, but it hasn't necessarily rang true for a lot of women. And I think that that's one of the things that in talking with a lot of couples out there is that there just wasn't and hasn't been a financial education piece in place. So I want to encourage at the end of that, fathers, mothers, sit down with your kids and have these conversations. And don't necessarily think. I think the thinking there was that a lot of women are going to kind of go through home ec and become moms and caretakers of the home and that
home
kind
ec
of a
doesn't
philosophy.
exist in school anymore.
What's that, Ben?
I was going to say home ec doesn't even exist in school anymore.
It's a whole different deal. But guys, too, if you think about it, it was years ago, generationally, the men that made the money, right? That's how it was.
Yep.
The women were at home, which I think is interesting because it's really changed. But it doesn't mean that the women were not financial managers, because many times the women, the men would work hard during the day. They would be dead tired at the end of the day, put their feet up, and then they just put the paycheck in, and the wife would plan on budgeting it out and getting the bills paid, all that, because he's working. He doesn't have time to do all that, right?
The coupons.
But,
I remember sitting around the kitchen table clipping coupons with my mom.
Yeah.
Well, in my family, it was a little bit of the reverse because my mom was really a very, very intuitive, very intelligent financial woman who had a significant gift in that area. So when my dad started his printing company, she handled the books and she made things happen there. She was very, very talented. So for me, I saw a lot of that.
Sure. Sure.
I learned more from,
your mom,
my mom and the business practices they put in place than I did.
Did your mom work with your dad at the company? Or? Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Was she a bookkeeper there too? Or?
Yeah, she did, and then they hired people to do that work too. But she was just very, very intuitive about how to handle. Yeah. So
I think that's interesting. It was my on my both my grandmothers were very much involved in finance, and that's what they did at their home. My grandfather passed away before I was born, so I never got to experience that. But I know that for me, it was my dad talking to me about the rule of 72, and compound interest.
Yes,
in money.
sounds like my
and
dad. Yeah.
That was the conversation and how to invest. But it definitely was like more of the practical finance piece and saving and kind of the top blocking and tackling pieces in finance that were covered by my mom.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of lessons we can learn from the generation that came before us, and hopefully we can pass that on to the generation following. The title of today's show is entitled, what was it again? Investing in the next generation. Whatever we want. No, it's investing in the next generation. So I recently came across an article that I thought was really interesting. I thought we'd share with our group here. It was written by a woman named Margarita Cheng, and she's the CEO and founder of Blue Ocean Global Wealth. It's a financial planning firm out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. And the article is entitled 8 Great Financial Lessons I Learned from My Father. And I thought it was pretty interesting because in the article, it really talks about, in the beginning, she talks about her father. Her father emigrated from Taiwan back in the 60s. He only had $17 to his name and the clothes on his back. And so she says, though he was poor in a material and financial sense, he never considered himself poor. His mantra was that financial wealth alone does not represent one's true wealth. She writes this, she says, my dad taught me not to define myself by how much I had, but by what I did with what I had. I learned early on not to let money be the sole determining factor for the decisions I made in life. But I also learned that although money couldn't buy happiness, it could provide peace of mind, freedom, and flexibility. I'm thankful for the values my father instilled in me about true wealth, but I'm also grateful that he taught me about finances. My dad understood the importance of financial literacy and has left me a legacy that I am now passing on to my own 3 children. Guys, I hear this more times than not. You hear about an immigrant that comes over. They come over with no money at all, and somehow they love this country, and somehow they figure out how to work hard and how to make it happen. And I think about my brother-in-law. His father came over from Italy back in the 30s, right around when the Great Depression was here. And he started an auto repair business, an auto body business. He came over with nothing, basically just like she said, the shirt on his back basically is what he came over with. And somehow they figured it out, and they used the great freedom and fundamentals of freedom that we have in this country to make a great living, and did very, very well over time, and took care of his family, and just did a great job. But it's a powerful story when you think about what can happen. But it doesn't happen by accident. So he could have come over. This guy here, Margarita Cheng's dad, could have come over and just lived a crazy life and not really taking care of his family. But they saw the importance of taking care of family.
Yeah, there's a number of people. My family. My grandmother, she came over from Russia in the first revolution.
Awesome.
And that's they literally sewed jewels into their coats and escaped with her just the clothes on their back.
Amazing.
And that's it.
Amazing.
She ended up, traveling through Egypt and all different places. She spoke 7 languages.
Wow.
Growing up throughout the world, and I think about that. But I was thinking about another gentleman I know. His family's from Iran, and people that he knew, like, they came over, and they were doctors and
I know
engineers and so forth, and they were waiting tables.
Yes. Driving a taxi cab, that type of thing, right? Yeah.
The humility that it takes to say, I'm gonna, like, you're a genius or a brilliant person, and you're gonna take that step down to move life forward. I think that's the biggest testament to a person and who they are.
Absolutely. And, I've been in taxi cabs. We're just talking with the guy back and forth. Sometimes he has broken English, but I remember talking with a guy. This was in New York City, not recently. I took a trip there recently, but it was just a while back. And I remember talking with a guy who said he was a surgeon back in the country that he came from. I don't remember what country it was, but I was just thinking, wow. We talked for a while. I had a 15, 20-minute ride while I was holding on for dear life. But it's amazing, the education that they come over with. And then they come over here, and it appears like they don't have any education. No, they're driving a taxi cab or working a blue-collar job. But let me tell you, these guys are, like you said, been brilliant. But it's just the stage that they find themselves in. But you know what they do? They do what they have to do.
Yeah, I was mentored years ago by a man and a woman who were doctors in Egypt.
Oh, wow.
And today they own several gas stations.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. It was just to be able to get back through, basically to have to go through and retest through school. It was going to be it was going to be way too much for them to have to go through. And anyways, they have a phenomenal life now, and they love what they do.
Fantastic.
You know what? That's gonna be kind of a we're gonna put a pin in it, and we're gonna be right back. You're listening to Money on Tap.
Hi, my name is Ben Brayshaw, one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. If you have questions when it comes to your retirement and are looking for a personalized solution, contact us at Brayshaw Financial Group. In today's volatile stock market, we can help you plan to find your successful retirement solution. Am I saving enough? Am I saving into the right places? Do my investments match my appetite for risk? Do I have a tax strategy that is going to help me keep more of what I earn? How can I maximize my Social Security income? If you are like most people, you are getting closer and closer to your retirement and may be wondering if you're taking the right steps. If you're in retirement, you may be wondering, am I maximizing my income while preserving my estate and caring for my family? We talk about all things financial in what we call three-dimensional investing, putting a plan around your financial future. If you feel that now is the time to start getting the answers to some of these questions for your own situation, give us a call at Brayshaw Financial Group at 855-226-8551. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, we have offices throughout New England and across the country. We would love the opportunity to show you how we can help. There's absolutely no cost or obligation just to meet with us, and we welcome you to our office. Call us at 855-226-8551.
Now back to Money on Tap with Ben Brayshaw, John Ryder, and Seth Cressman.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals' experience and some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. So we have been talking about financial lessons and financial lessons that we've learned in our life and what we can do to try to pass on financial lessons to our children. And here are some things that you can do right now to raise financially literate children. I think that's one of the goals that we have Money on Tap is to not only help our clients to engage in areas around finances that maybe they haven't thought about, doing some planning pieces, in improving the financial literacy there for our clients, but also helping to transition to creating their children and their family and instilling these practices in their family so that their children can have financial literacy as well. So one of the first things that we can try to tackle is to teach our children hard work. And this is one that I just struggle with. Like recently, it seems like this is one of the I've talked to so many people. I'm like, what is going on? Why can I not get like my kid to work hard unless I throw, some monumental threat out there? Like we're going to shave your head. I don't know what,
so you look like Dad. Yeah. So you look like Dad. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, when we were growing up, Kira and I talk about this. It was, we were picking berries. We were, cleaning offices. Kira was babysitting. I mean, we just had stuff we wanted to do. We were motivated to get money and save money. And that's one of the things our parents taught us was, 10% goes to God. And then we've got, the 50% goes to savings. And then whatever's left over, you can save and have some fun with that way.
Buy some CDs.
But we were motivated as kids. And so first of all, we probably have a little bit of a blissful perspective of our childhood.
Oh, never.
We worked hard. We didn't get paid.
But, when you really break it down, we didn't, we weren't like, hey, let's go work. Hey, looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're forced into it.
I think we saw the financial benefits because, my parents didn't buy us anything. I mean, they were like, you want that? You need to go earn it. And then if you really wanted it, you got the job. So then you got a job and you're like, oh, I like making some money. Oh, that's not bad. I'll go pick more berries. I used to pick strawberries for a local farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're trying to struggle through some of these concepts right now, just so folks don't feel like, we figured out the recipe.
We don't have it all
But
together,
that's why,
sure.
just with my daughter, that's why I said to her, I said, if you want to drive, you need to.
Yeah, she's 16. What, 16? When
Yeah, she's 17 now. I was like, you need to pay for your insurance.
Yeah.
And it's funny because during that conversation, we were figuring out the increased cost of my insurance, give her the number and everything like that. And she's like, oh, it's so much money. I was like, yeah, well,
get to work.
Congratulations. It's a privilege, not a right. And
she got right to work, didn't she?
She did.
Girl?
She got right to work. She got a job herself.
No, she got more than one job.
Yeah,
I think she got 2 or 3 jobs going.
Three jobs. She really wanted that. And then she saved up. She bought a car. I told her I'd split the car with her.
Yeah.
Just a little simple thing,
Yeah,
you know, and so forth. But it was funny because my son, who was like 13 at the time, said, "Oh, Cassidy, don't worry. The insurance thing, you only got to pay it once."
A little financial literacy lacking.
Yeah. And then I said, "No, Colin, we pay that every year." He's like, "Really? You pay that every year?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep."
Well, you know, that's great. So number 2 is giving your child a vision. And I think
I want to say something about that last piece as well, is that before we move on, is that I like what the article highlights and says, don't be afraid to pay your children for work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and because the financial rewards piece, when they do something and they do something well and rewarding them financially, that can really build some great neural pathways for them to get some correlation around, hey, if I want more financial reward, I can be creative. I can find new ways to, you know, work and to make money and be an entrepreneur and just connect some of those pieces for them. I know it's a challenge for us as parents to figure this out, but don't be afraid to pay them for their hard work.
Absolutely.
Too.
And I think that really ties into number 2, which is
I pay them every day. They get food,
shelter.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Water.
But no, I think number 2 here really ties in with that first piece. Give your children a vision. So let them know that what can actually happen. And I think it's very important for kids to understand that they're not going to get everything that you have overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. So let them know, hey, I'm saving up for this. Let them know I'm saving up for this tractor. Or I've been wanting to do this kitchen for a long time, and your mom and I have put money away for the last year, 18 months, 2 years to do this. We've been wanting to do this deck project.
I do
Let them know
that very intentionally. I use an online savings account that allows us to break up, you know, different like sub accounts inside of it to save at different tools. You know, basically we have a vacation account.
Yeah.
You know, like we
Ben,
have.
you haven't been on vacation for years. What's going on with that account?
Yeah. No, but I mean, we save for that stuff
Yeah.
intentionally. We do what we can, you know, and then, you know, if we try to use the points for the airfare, we try to, you know, a little bit of money.
But here's where we're tying in. Let the kids be involved. I don't know if you guys do this or not, but let the kids be involved in that
They know
vision.
we do that.
Yeah.
But they don't know. They don't watch it. They don't see it, but they know it exists.
Yeah. But I think it's so important for kids to not to think, okay, like the other day we actually got a credit card to put some stuff on. We have the money to pay for it, but we were buying some materials for a project we're working on. And so as I whipped out the credit card, the new one that we just got, the new flashy one, because we were trying to get some miles on it, my wife said to my daughter, hey, just so you know, we're not just throwing this on a credit card. We're actually paying that off as soon as we read it because we're getting miles on it.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to afford miles to make a flight here and there. But it's important for them to know just because you're whipping out a credit card doesn't mean you're spending the money there. And but I think for our kids to get a vision of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and to understand that, hey, I may have a nice car here. The first car you're going to get is not going to be so nice. It's going to take a while for you.
Yeah.
Your car might be rusty that you get. It might be, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, give them
shiny
goals.
one. Yeah,
exactly. Give them goals and help them put pen to paper around this and actually understand. Okay, if I have, you know, if I'm bringing in this much and I'm you know, how many weeks is it going to take me to save to get to this goal? I think that's critical.
And I think number 3 is helping them learn to save. Yeah. So we talked about having a vision, but also helping them learn to save. And how do you guys do that? I mean, what's the best way you think?
My 5-year-old doesn't seem to have an issue with this. The piggy bank she loves to load it up, you know, and she doesn't have a care in the world as far as the rest of the finances go. The 13-year-old, on the other hand, this was a concept that he's really struggled with lately. Like it doesn't seem to have any value to him yet, and trying to just help him understand what does this look like? Like it drives him crazy. When we go to the bank, I'm like, no, we're going to go ahead and put these dollars over into the savings. And he's but this is my account over here. I'm going to save it in this account over here, you know, which is a spending account. And I'm like, how's that working out for you? It's got zero balance in it right now.
Minimum balance fees are getting hit. Yeah. But yes, go ahead and start savings accounts as soon as you can get those going, and then help them to understand. I think kids learn by doing. So basically, if they have their own little book there, the checkbook register, they can see exactly what's going in. They can see when the money gets down. They might not be looking at their statements on a regular basis as we all do or should be doing. But at least it's helping them to realize, hey, this is my money, and I need to be a good steward of that money. And if I spend it all, I'm going to have no money like my friend who never has any money. So just being able to detail for them, so kind of even a budget for them. Hey, if I get $100 for babysitting this week, I know that $80 is going to be going into the savings. I'm going to keep on saving that up.
Yeah.
You know?
Number 4, talk to them about investing, John.
Yeah, so teaching children the fundamentals of investing is important. I think it really depends upon the age. I mean, we can certainly talk to our 5-year-old Seth about investing, but probably not something that's going to be a great learning process for them yet. Although there are different lessons that we can learn when it talks to, if you talk about them putting money into an account. I don't know if you guys ever remember seeing this years ago, but talking about how gratification for some kids is so important. And they probably had a group of 5-year-olds in this study. It was actually where they put them in a room, and they came in and they had a whole big jar of M&Ms there. And they came in and they said, if you only eat this one M&M, I'm going to give you all these M&Ms. I'm going to give you 5 M&Ms here. But if you only take one of those M&Ms, after 5 minutes, I'm going to give you this whole jar if you don't eat them all. And it's funny. You see the kids on the video. They eat their one M&M. And then
hilarious.
Then they think about it and they go, And you know what? The majority of them ending up...
You can't use M&Ms as an example. That's not even fair.
But the majority of them the 5-year-olds want to eat all those at once. And so as a result, they do that, and then they don't get the big jar. And you know what? The same thing is true when it comes to a lot of adults too, right? A lot of adults, we want to go out and spend our money and then don't save it, and then it's gone, and then we wonder why it doesn't accumulate. But it's very interesting for kids to see how investing can help them. Guys, I don't know if you guys remember.
Are we talking about investing yet? Is that where we're at?
Well, we are. We're talking about investing. Do you guys recall that article that talked about if you started putting $1,000 or $2,000 away a year from the time you're 18 to 35 years old, you'll have more than if you started just wait a few years. It's amazing that articles. I didn't bring that out.
Compounding.
When my son saw that was very interesting to him because he was right at the perfect age at 18, and that's when he started saving. He's been putting money away since, just consistently on a regular basis, and that's powerful.
So I like what they bring in as far as games, board games, because kids love to play. That's all they want to do. And we were talking about this the other day, how it's amazing how you put a 5-year-old in a room with another 5-year-old, or kids in a room with each other. It's like 3, 2, 1, play. They don't need introductions. They know. They're like, that's what's going on right now. We are going to play and have some fun. And board games are a great way to do that. We've used Cash Flow. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Robert Kiyosaki. It's almost a movement out there, I'd say. But I will say these. You could probably pick these games up inexpensively, but they are not inexpensive to buy from that organization. But the kids love it. They love playing the game, and it teaches them how doodads is one of the things they use in this game, which is basically it's fun to buy the thing, the doodad, but it's not going to improve your position as far as your balance sheet over here to get you to win the game. So you need to try to
invest in the IRA.
Those things. Yeah. And so, I mean, we got this a couple of years ago and started, just playing it with the kids for fun. And it was amazing to me how at 2 weeks later, the kids are coming up with ways to sell their toys and start all these ingenious ways to create income for themselves. We don't want the jet ski, Dad.
We don't want the jet ski. No.
Yeah, and also not buying some things that that they had previously that they were wanting.
It's called Doodads. That's the name of it.
No, it's called Cash Flow.
Oh, Cash Flow. That's great. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, monopolies can be fun too, but I mean, I think really
more of a Trump game. I'll buy this hotel. I'll sell this casino.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cash flow has some real consequences in it, some real life consequences that help them understand, investing their money in different things has, results, whatever those are.
Absolutely. Number 5 is teaching kids to give. And I love this aspect. And in fact, Seth, you mentioned this earlier on. You're talking about how was it your dad that said, hey, you save your first 10% and that goes into.
I think this is the most important.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were, doing all of our chores or jobs and all those kind of things growing up, and all the time it was the first 10% right off the top goes to God, and that's what we still teach, and that's kind of how we've broken up the finances. Is 10% goes to God, 50% goes into savings, and that it's three pots of money. That's it, and the rest of it is, yours to spend or keep or whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah, because kids need to be taught to share. I mean, it would be nice if we all thought that all our kids just learn to share and learn to be generous on their own, but that's not the case. We need to teach them that. And the article here that we're going through, Margarita Cheng's article, talks about mentions World Vision, which is a great charity that allows children to you can go out and you can buy chickens and goats and clean water for children overseas, or even here in the U.S. But I found it very gratifying when I was my son was in his freshman year at school, and I got a phone call from him, and he said, "Guess what I did today? You'll never guess." I said, "What?" He said, "I just got a compassion child." And so basically, he sponsored a child overseas, and he was doing that in college. And I thought that was kind of cool because we had never said, "Clark, you should do this," or that type of thing. But he just decided out of when he heard the call and the need, he decided to do that. And I thought it was pretty cool for a 18, 19-year-old kid to do that. And that was pretty cool.
Here's another thing that we've done too is during the holidays, so many gifts. It almost gets out of control sometimes, as what we've witnessed. And instead of giving that type of gift, we've given some of these like Compassion International, some of these other organizations. We've sponsored some kids or bought them the animals that they need for their farm. And the response to that has been amazing to see the kids light up and love that is what their gift is.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we have that kind of similar thing with Cassie. She saves 10%, she puts it into, and I tell her, listen, choose something, pray about it, choose something that you feel like you're led to sponsor and give to, and because then they get excited about it. It's about them and where God's leading their heart. So, Number 6, show them how to budget. Teach your children, no matter how hard they work, it's unlikely they will be able to save, invest, or give without budgeting. I think that's
having a clear picture. In other words, what you're saying, what's going on with the money.
That's the fundamental story that we talk to people about all the time. Is like, you may not have a written hardcore budget, but at the end of the day, if you don't have some grasp or handle around how you move and spend and receive money, you're not going to be able to do it well, and that's important. So
basically, know where your dollars are coming from and know where they're going. And it's no different. It's no different for us than it is for our kids as we're teaching them. Hey, if you have an allowance or that, we can get into that. Probably that's not for today. But basically, when you have money coming in, know where it's going and know that you're not spending more than you have. In fact, that's the number 7 one that we want to talk about today. Warn them about debt. And if there's one thing in our culture that we all see today, and it is unbelievable how much debt there is out there when it comes to people's personal financial situations. We see companies that are in debt. We see individuals that are in debt. And that can be a major, major problem later on. It may not be a big deal with $100 or $200, but that $100 or $200 grows into $1,000 to $2,000, and all of a sudden the compound interest starts mounting up, and it can be very, very difficult. We've seen people come into our office with great amount of debt, whether it be a home or this or that, and it can be very handicapping.
I think something to consider, this doesn't really highlight here, but is the importance of failure in these aspects and in these areas. Like right now, the debt that they might get, like use the CD, the Columbia CD experience, the BMG CD experience, right? Getting into some trouble right now is easy to resolve. And it can be such a great lesson for them to go ahead and experience something along these lines as a failure. Yeah. Because, the cost is so low. So, don't worry so much about, I would say, having the perfect result here, right? The kids you're going to pay them and you're going to give them $20 and they're not going to break it up into the pots that they've selected. They go spend it all. Well, guess what? The next week, they're going to have to pay that back.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a great lesson for them as well.
Seth, I think that really, really ties in well to our last point that we want to bring out today. And that is, don't solve their problems for them when it comes to money. Now, of course, we want to help along the way. But like you said, they've got to take care of themselves. They've got to learn some personal self-responsibility. And you know what? All of us as parents, we like to fix things. We like to make the problems go away. But when you think about it, if we make their problems go away, we'll take care of that. My dad didn't bail in and say, I'm going to get you your $175. No, I had to figure out how to pay that back out of my own pocket. And that helps you. It just gives you self-responsibility. If someone's always bailing you out from the time you're 7th, 8th grade all the way through college, all the way through high school and then through college, and you're always getting bailed out, well, guess what kind of a husband, provider you're going to be if you've always been bailed out your whole life? It's not going to be a pretty picture.
Yeah, I think ultimately, we all take hard lessons on, and there are times when help can be appropriate and good, but it's honestly good to let kids, young adults, trip and fail a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue is we start most of our lives today with major debt. It's college debt. There's a lot of parents who are trying to pay for that, but then there's that balance of, will my child appreciate the gift of the college experience? Will they apply themselves as much as if they spent the money themselves? Those are questions, and those are hard things to task. But you have to work through those and figure out where you're going to help your child grow and where your help would cause them to stumble.
So here's the deal with kids. Financially literate children, they understand that poor spending habits are going to have consequences. And if we're going to raise kids that are financially literate, we need to endeavor to be financially literate ourselves and understand what's going on to be able to help them in the best way we can.
You may be out there and you may feel that you've not had much of a background when it comes to financial education. You may feel that you have a lot of things going on when it comes to your finances. But even if you're not sure how it all works together, that's what we're here for. And if that is the case, we'd love to meet with you. We'd love to spend some time working through the financial education piece with you and your family. That's important. You can reach us at 855-226-8551. You've been listening to Money on Tap. Thanks a lot, you guys.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of this radio station and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. No strategy, product, material, or tool mentioned can assure a profit or protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information, products, materials, or tools mentioned should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. This show may be subsidized in whole or in part by a product sponsor or issuer. Securities and advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. All other services offered through Brayshaw Financial Group LLC are independent of SagePoint Financial. SagePoint Financial and Brayshaw Financial Group do not provide tax or legal advice. Main office is located at 116 South River Road, Bedford, New Hampshire, 03110, and can be reached at toll-free 855-226-8551.